The death knell for a transformative program, in my opinion, is trying to redo what you currently have in a new environment. AI, I think, totally changes that paradigm. You're no longer constrained with how you normally interact with a system. The amount of efficiency that can be driven, I think it's going to totally change the business case, and our transformations will look very different moving forward. It will force us to really think about the future and doing things totally differently.
Welcome to StitchStudio's Pilot to Production. In this series, we're interviewing insurance executives, investors, and consultants to hear real stories of how the industry is operationalizing AI in insurance. From carriers and brokerages to technology partners and investors, you'll gain practical insights, implementation strategies, and lessons learned from the leaders driving enterprise-scale adoption, moving from pilots to implementing responsible, predictable, and explainable AI. I'm Karan Mishra, CEO of StitchStudio, and this is Pilot to Production.
Ted, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
Appreciate you having the conversation with us. Why don't we start by you telling our audience a little bit more about your background and time in the industry?
Sure. So I'm Ted Epps. I lead EY's life annuity and workforce benefits technology practice. I've been in the industry for about 25 years, almost exclusively focused on modernization, both within the individual market as well as the group market. And have had opportunities to do all different types of programs, from helping carriers plan for modernization, be it either in the individual group market, and then actually helping them see it through to completion. So it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, very good. And so, I wanted to start this conversation thinking about this word transformation, right? I feel like the last 10, 15 years in our industry, all carriers have had to, some more times than once, right, try to go through a transformation. And you've led a lot of these things across different types of carriers. And now we're in the era of AI. What lessons do you think can be brought from that history into AI adoption?
So for me, AI is a great way of accelerating and mitigating risks that we would normally see within a transformation program. And one of the areas that I've been investing a lot of time in has to do with legacy consolidation and conversion, and leveraging tools to help us identify a little bit more about product rules, what's been implemented on a system, what needs to be implemented on a future system, and how to convert it. And that's really been a huge component of it. When it comes to the power of AI for transformation, the typical path has always been pick a system, implement a new system. I'm really expecting to see something that's game-changing for the future, less reliant on a common system of record that we are currently, and really looking at options of how do we really make that kind of what I view to be as a pretty not an undifferentiating asset with an organization, a system of record. How do we de-emphasize that and really invest in some things I think could be truly transformative with an AI perspective? So on the individual market, where I spend most of my time, we've underinvested in service for so long because there's never been an opportunity to really build a business case. It's always, so a policyholder doesn't really engage with their policy, not like what other financial products would be. And so the business case for someone actually, maybe doing a more digital or modern experience for some basic transactions that go along with it has never been there. But now, the amount of efficiency that can be driven, I think it's going to totally change the business case, and our transformations will look very different moving forward.
And so if you had to point to some key lessons that maybe you've seen, in past transformation types of projects, what are some of maybe the key things that you would say that has to be done right with AI?
So I actually think AI will help us address, just dramatically do a different path and do different things totally differently than what we've done in the past. The death knell for a transformative program, in my opinion, is trying to redo what you currently have in a new environment. And it's human nature. We're very comfortable with how we do business and how we operate today. It's very difficult to think of things differently. And AI, I think, totally changes that paradigm. You're no longer constrained with how you normally interact with a system or maybe a contact center, et cetera. And so I think what it'll do is it'll force us to really think about the future and doing things totally differently.
When we think about all that legacy environment, right, all the constraints, what are some of the main areas that you see holding back adoption in AI because of those legacy constraints?
Yeah, so the biggest things for me when it comes to adopting AI has to do with just the complexity of current environments. So I'm really hopeful that just the AI itself can help us operate with like kind of a servicing layer, an efficiency layer across multiple systems, which is generally what we see in the life and annuity space.
So we're obviously in a pretty highly regulated industry, right? Our business has got a lot of regulation. From your perspective, what are some of the most unique challenges trying to bring AI into that?
So I've actually had a history of trying to do things with not today's AI, but some type of like predictive modeling, models for underwriting, et cetera, in the past. And all the efforts we would do, all the investments would get hit by, basically shut down by regulators. We don't understand what's happening in this black box. We're not going to support it. And states like New York have really made it difficult to do that. The interesting thing, and this is more on the generative AI side that we saw earlier on in the wave, the regulators kind of liked it because it explained the work. Kind of like if you were in high school and you're doing a math class and you have to show the steps that you solve, it was actually showing that and reporting it out so the regulators could tell. And so I'm actually hopeful that a lot of this will be easier. Now, I'm sure there'll be some regulatory issues when it comes to actual decisions being made by an agent, et cetera. But I'm hopeful that we're not going to see the same type of challenges we've had in the past.
So when you look across the industry, are there markers that give you confidence that carriers are ready for AI in general? And or are there markers that, we're going to be lagging in some way?
It's really all over the map. There's no, I don't think there's really like a characteristic of a company, a size or a specific product or market. But certain carriers are just a little bit more innovative in nature or more interested in making these types of investments. So I have clients who are way ahead and actually integrating it into their operations now, and had active conversations with clients about how do we actually integrate some of the techniques and tools and solutions out there in the IT organization. So when it comes to the fundamentals of just improving how today's business is going, I think the industry is I'm not going to say everyone's doing it, right? But definitely there are carrier examples out there where they're plowing forward and they're making these types of investments. Now, on the agentic, making decisions, I think that's still yet to come. The availability of data, the ability to have it in one centralized area or be able to use it more effectively, I think is key. But I'm hopeful that this will be a stimulus for us to see further modernization, consolidation of some of the complex environments that we deal with.
Yeah, no, that's great. Let's stick with that for just a second. So when we think about AI adoption, I always try to put things in kind of two categories, at least. You've got one is the technology. Like, is the company ready? Is the data, if it's stable and secure, that's one thing, right? That's usually a good launching point. Some companies are still trying to get their tech environments up to that level. But on the other side of it, you have just the cultural issue of adoption in general. Are there any markers that you've seen across the ones that you have seen adopt that you would say that, culturally they have to fit a certain way, systems have to be at sort of a minimum? Any of those kind of descriptors come to mind?
Yeah, I've actually had multiple requests from carriers talking about change management programs to help them improve the efficiency of their AI programs. So that's a marker by itself that I think carriers are interested in seeing and investing to see how they can optimize it. From an environment or data perspective, I'm not seeing a lot when it comes to the actual core systems currently, right? So I'm seeing a lot, and I think we're seeing a lot of AI embedded in platforms, the Salesforces of the world, et cetera. And that's where most of my clients are starting. So they still have work to do to modernize their core system of record data environments to really take advantage of it. That's a lot of investment, a lot of complexity, a lot of work that needs to happen. But they can definitely take advantage of some of the more modern tools that they have with how they interface with customers, how they interface with distributors, and then use it on their day-to-day when it comes to some of the basic tasks that they do.
So, another question comes to sort of the strategy of adopting AI, right? So do you feel like more companies are taking sort of a crawl, walk, run, where let's just start with a pilot of some kind, let's see how it works? Or are they taking more of the path of like, let's sit down and come up with the full roadmap? Like, what would we do across our enterprise before we even do a pilot?
So we've seen both. Yeah. And personally, I think it's such a big topic when you look at it from a full enterprise perspective of how you transform, that's a really difficult way to start with it. And I think most carriers have had a conversation with somebody about where could we plug this stuff in across their value chain. I don't think it's that difficult to figure it out, especially in an individual. I mean, it's all over from a group perspective with the different interactions you have. So clearly, I think it's pretty obvious where it could play. So the ones that I've seen more successful have picked an area and started there and then expanded. But again, that foundational kind of system of record oriented data is less. I've not seen that as much. It's usually more on the periphery and how someone engages and kind of from an experience perspective or efficiency from an operations perspective.
Chad, thanks a ton for joining us today.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks for watching. You can subscribe to our show on YouTube or by following us on LinkedIn. And please consider giving us a rating or a review so it helps others to find our show. Visit StitchStudio.ai to learn more about our applied AI solution built for insurance. See you soon.